Long before the world knew him as the king of rock and roll, before the screaming crowds, the gold records, and the bright lights of fame, Elvis Presley was simply a shy young boy growing up in one of the poorest parts of Tupelo, Mississippi. His life was far removed from the glamour that would later define his public image. In fact, there were days when his family struggled so much financially that even the most basic necessities seemed out of reach. Born on January 8, 1935, Elvis Aaron Presley entered a world marked by hardship. His parents, Vernon and Gladys Presley, loved their son deeply, but love alone could not shield the family from poverty. They lived in a modest two-room house that Vernon had built with the help of relatives. The house was small, simple, and offered little comfort, but it was filled with warmth, faith, and family devotion. Life in rural Mississippi during the Great Depression was difficult for countless families, and the Presleys were no exception. Jobs were scarce, money was limited, and every dollar mattered. Vernon worked whenever he could find employment, taking on various labor jobs to support his family. Despite his efforts, financial stability often remained just out of reach. As a young boy, Elvis witnessed these struggles firsthand. He saw the worry on his parents' faces when bills piled up. He watched his mother carefully stretch every penny to provide food for the family. There were no luxuries, no expensive toys, and certainly no signs that the young boy would one day become one of the most famous entertainers in history. According to accounts from those who knew the Presley family during those years, there were times when Elvis wore worn-out clothing and lacked many of the things other children took for granted. Some stories describe him walking barefoot because proper shoes were either unavailable or had become too worn to wear comfortably. Whether heading to school, playing outside, or accompanying his parents around town, Elvis experienced the realities of poverty in a way that left a lasting impression on him. Yet those difficult circumstances did not make him bitter. Instead, they shaped his character. The young Elvis learned early that life was not always fair. He understood what it meant to go without. He knew the embarrassment that sometimes came with being poor, but he also learned resilience. The hardships he faced taught him to appreciate every opportunity that came his way and to value the people who stood beside him during difficult times. Among those people, none were more important than his mother, Gladys. Elvis and Gladys shared a bond that many described as extraordinarily close. She encouraged him, protected him, and filled his life with affection. Even when money was scarce, she made sure her son knew he was loved. Gladys often reminded Elvis to stay humble, work hard, and treat others with kindness regardless of their social status. Those lessons remained with him throughout his life. Music became an escape from the struggles surrounding him. In church, Elvis listened carefully to gospel singers whose powerful voices filled the sanctuary. He absorbed every note and every emotion. Outside church, he heard blues musicians and country performers whose sounds drifted through neighborhoods and local gatherings. Without realizing it, he was building the foundation of a musical style that would later change popular culture forever. At school, Elvis was not considered the most popular student. He was quiet, often reserved, and preferred keeping to himself. Few classmates could have predicted that the shy boy sitting among them would someday become an international superstar. To many, he appeared ordinary. Yet beneath that quiet exterior was a dreamer with a remarkable passion for music. When the Presley family eventually moved to Memphis, Tennessee, new opportunities began to emerge. The move was not easy, and financial challenges continued to follow them. Nevertheless, Memphis exposed Elvis to an even wider range of musical influences. The city's vibrant blend of gospel, blues, rhythm and blues, and country music left a profound impact on the young singer. Even then, success was far from guaranteed. Elvis worked various jobs as a teenager while pursuing his love of music. He drove trucks, earned modest wages, and spent countless hours thinking about how he might someday make something of himself. There were no promises that his dreams would come true. There were no powerful industry connections waiting to help him. There was only determination, talent, and an unwavering belief that a better future might be possible. That future began to take shape in 1953 when Elvis walked into Sun Studio in Memphis and paid a few dollars to record a song as a gift for his mother. It seemed like a small moment at the time, but it would ultimately become one of the most significant turning points in music history. Producer Sam Phillips soon recognized that there was something unique about the young singer. Elvis possessed a voice unlike any other. He blended musical influences from different traditions into a sound that felt fresh, exciting, and impossible to ignore. What followed was extraordinary. Within a few short years, Elvis Presley transformed from a struggling young man into a national sensation. His records climbed the charts. His concerts attracted enormous crowds. His television appearances captivated millions. Everywhere he went, people wanted to see him, hear him, and experience the energy that made him unlike anyone else. Suddenly, the boy who had once known poverty found himself living a life beyond anything he could have imagined. But unlike many people who achieved great success, Elvis never forgot the hardships of his childhood. The memories of those difficult years remained vivid. He remembered the uncertainty. He remembered the sacrifices his parents had made. He remembered how hard they had worked simply to survive. Most importantly, he remembered who had stood by him when he had nothing. That is why one of Elvis's greatest priorities, after becoming successful, was helping his family. He purchased a home for his parents and ensured they enjoyed comforts they had never been able to afford before. No longer would they have to worry about where the next paycheck would come from. No longer would they face the same financial struggles that had defined so much of their earlier lives. For Elvis, this achievement meant more than fame. Millions of fans celebrated his records, his movies, and his performances. Yet behind the scenes, one of his deepest sources of pride was knowing that he had fulfilled a promise he had carried in his heart since childhood. He had given back to the people who had sacrificed everything for him. Friends and associates often noted Elvis's generosity throughout his life. Perhaps that generosity was rooted in the experiences of his youth. Having known what it felt like to have very little, he found it difficult to ignore the needs of others. He frequently gave gifts, helped family members, supported friends, and donated to charitable causes. While headlines often focus on his celebrity lifestyle, those who knew him personally often spoke about his desire to help people whenever he could. The story of Elvis Presley is often told through the lens of fame, music, and cultural impact. Those accomplishments are undeniably remarkable. He sold millions of records, influenced generations of artists, and became one of the most recognizable figures in entertainment history. Yet, perhaps the most inspiring part of his story happened long before the spotlight found him. It happened in the small house in Tupelo. It happened during the difficult years when money was scarce. It happened when a young boy learned perseverance through hardship and discovered strength in the love of his family. Those experiences shaped the man he would become. The barefoot child from Mississippi could easily have allowed poverty to define his future. Instead, he transformed adversity into determination. He turned obstacles into motivation. He refused to let difficult circumstances dictate the limits of his dreams. That is why Elvis Presley's story continues to resonate decades after his passing. It is not merely a story about music. It is not simply a story about celebrity. It is a story about hope. It is a reminder that greatness can emerge from the most humble beginnings. It is proof that success is not determined by where a person starts in life, but by the courage, perseverance, and determination they carry along the way. And perhaps that is the most enduring legacy of Elvis Presley. Long before he became a king, he was a poor boy with a dream. Against all odds, he transformed that dream into reality, inspiring millions of people around the world to believe that their own circumstances do not have to define their future.